neighbor up in Mount Eden, Donna Palmer, she gave me Joyce's name. And so I went and visited with Joyce and Betty one day in February. And they had so many fun, interesting stories, and I wanted to have them share with our group. And plus, they showed me these beautiful wooden pieces of woodwork that their aunt and uncle made back in the, would you say 80s and 90s primarily? And so they were a brother and sister that lived alone. At first they lived with their mother, right? And then later lived alone in the home place. And after they retired from farming, they just took up woodworking, and you'll see the results back here. They're just beautiful. We'll just open it up to you all, and I did bring a map because I thought county, and I hope I got it right, but it's over here near the Nelson County line, and not too far from Van Buren, really. So I put that orange pin where I think it is. And here's Timber Creek, which was a boundary, right, kind of in the area. And this was Levy Creek. Anyway, I hope I got that right. Who wants to tell us a little bit about?
The first that I can go back and tell you about is they lived in Wakefield after they married, and they had 2 sons. And while they were milking one morning, the house burned and killed the 2 sons.
Mm-hmm.
And then they left there and moved over to a house on Timber Creek where the rest of the children were born, 6 more. It was 3 boys and 3 girls. And they lived, Linda, did they move 1935? Did we say? She didn't hear me.
Dad was 5 years old.
When they moved there,
Yeah.
Mother was 10 years old, so it would have been 1938.
38. And I have pictures back here. I did finally find pictures of the home after they had added on to it. But I also have a picture, my sister and I went down when they were tearing it down. And the original house there was 2 cabins, 2 stories high, with a dog trot in between. And after they lived there for a certain period of time, they fastened that together, and then they added along the side and then even in the front a little bit. And it was a pretty big home then. The boys lived upstairs, and Grandma and Granddaddy lived in the living room. Their bedroom was in the living room. And how big would you say that living room was? It was huge. It was pretty big size. Oh,
30 to 40.
okay. They were good size. And then they made the dining room in the middle. And I don't know how many acres they had to start with. Does anybody know that? Anyway, the bottom that is now covered with water was 80 acres. And you went down the hill from the house, and Salt River ran on the other side of the bottom area. And that's where they did the most of their growing of crops and stuff. We even had some garden down there. That's where I learned to drive a big truck. There's lots of memories. But they,
You couldn't hit much down there when
no,
you were practicing.
that's the only reason they let me drive. But it was just a wonderful place to grow up, and we were all one big family. We all got together and did the tobacco here, and then we go do the tobacco here, and did like that to keep it from being so hard on everybody. And My granddaddy died first back in 1959. And then grandmother, got dementia bad, and she had it for about 20 years. And they had to board up the house and only have one entrance in and out the back. And my Uncle Bill maintained he took care of her, never put her in a nursing home. And, we called her grandma, and she was a wonderful grandma. She was strict, and, but she was kind and spoiled us too, so. I don't know, anybody else want to tell anything?
What were their names, Joyce, your grandparents' names?
Was Effie Stevens Chowning, and granddaddy's name was Jake Matthew Snyder Chowning. I look back, and if you go back through the genealogy, you can see where he got some of his names. But,
They wanted to get the Snyder in there, didn't they?
the Snyder was from his mother.
A lot of you know, she was a Stevens, Lee Stevens, he was brother.
Yeah. He was,
Comfort Stevens in Bloomfield, and Lee was.
But he was known as Snyder, he was known.
yeah, he was known as Snyder.
They called
Very
him-
few people knew what his whole name.
Oh, no,
Okay.
even I didn't know what his whole name was.
I didn't know, I knew it was Jake Math Snyder Chowning, but on the genealogy it has Matthew. They're not always correct, because I found a lot of mistakes when I was looking through it. But, he got those names from past relatives, so,
I remember Elise Stevens in Wakefield,
yeah, that's where,
and my.
yeah, he lived.
Lee owned our Spencer County at one time.
I remember Phyllis Howard go talk out with him, the first stopping down south. All right, boy, get over here.
Yeah.
Joyce, how many siblings do you have with you tonight?
I'm not sure, I didn't keep count. Let's see. There's, yeah, 4 of my siblings are with me, there's 6, there's 6 of us left. My brother passed away, so I'm left to be the oldest one of the whole group. And we got spouses, and then Kathy is a cousin, and Linda's a cousin. And this is my daughter and her husband. She wanted to hear what was being said tonight, and found it interesting, so, they helped me get here, because I didn't drive right now.
Appreciate that. So,
Yeah,
you're now the oldest.
Yes.
And then who's next?
Betty,
I'll bet.
and then
Charlotte.
in my family, yeah, Betty, and then Charlotte. Charlotte has, bad circulation to her legs, and she's lost this foot right below her knee, and then she had to have the toes all taken off of this foot. So she's in a wheelchair, and it's hard on her to get around, so we offered to go get her, but,
And then after Charlotte,
and then
Dale,
and Joanne, and Becky.
you're the baby.
Yeah, they mistreated me really bad. She was the only one born in the hospital.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah.
She slept on my stomach all the time.
Oh,
That's my second mom.
Some of all born. I'm Candy Kathy.
Except for
No, I'm
Kate.
Candy Kathy.
Mom has a picture of the house on the land where she was born, and we went and got some, siding off, the wood off of the original, and framed it. And, my dad's is the same way, he doesn't have to do this, but, I thought that was really cool. We should
Yeah,
probably-
we went to both of the houses we were born in and got
You
framed.
didn't bring it tonight.
No.
I wish we
But that's
had, I just
okay.
thought of it.
You all brought so much.
I always thought I was born in a log cabin, and it got torn down and buried, and no one ever said anything about being logged,
So you don't know for sure.
it may not have been logged.
So, where you grew up, Joyce and siblings, was not where your grandparents lived. but-
Not very far from it.
Was it-
I was where you have that pen.
Yeah.
I was born right across the Nelson County line
Oh, were you?
in the house that was there,
So.
but it's not there anymore.
Okay.
And you could literally see when there's no leaves on the tree and stuff, you could see Van Buren through there.
Okay.
And, then we moved out to Greens Chapel when I was 2.
Okay.
Lived there till Dad passed away, and then Mother moved to between Bluefield and Chaplin. He built her a house.
Okay. And their name, your parents' names were?
Robert Lee Chowning and Serene Coulter Chowning.
There were 7 of you all? 7.
There were 7 of us. I counted up, let's see, Uncle Pete was older than Daddy, so he had 2 children, and one of those had passed away. She had diabetes real bad. And then Mom and Dad had 7, and then, Aunt Betsy had 2, and then Aunt Millie had 6, and her, one of her sons got a brain tumor and died at 11 or 12 years old. Oh,
But he was,
13.
13, yeah.
And then they adopted, Charlie and Mikey, so there was 8 in that family, so that made 19 of all of us if we were living.
Joyce, and others, where did y'all go to school? That was a question I had, like, in the elementary grades?
Chaplain.
We went to Chaplin. Kathy, you went to Wakefield.
Then we went to Nelson County for high school, me and Harvey.
I went to Bloomfield.
They went to Bloomfield, and then we went to
The
high
last
school.
one, the
Yeah, it was the last one.
The school closed after he graduated.
You were in the last graduating high school, Bloomfield? Okay, did you go to Van Buren for groceries? Where did you go for groceries?
When we were growing up, we went to Van Buren every Saturday.
Every Saturday.
Charlie Ashby.
Charlie Ashby.
And we, kids got to go because we got candy.
Oh, yeah.
Mr. Ashby would always, if you were in, we went a lot of times with Granddaddy Chowning. And if you were in the back of that old, whatever you had, Model T Ford, Mr. Ashby would come out and make sure you had something, whether it was a candy bar or a Coke or whatever. Sometimes you'd have to, he didn't have enough for everybody, so we'd have to split it. But he always, if we were with Granddaddy, he always made sure we had something.
I've heard so many good stories about Charlie
This-
Ashby.
This
No, he
tried
was-
the
he
model.
was great.
So,
Yeah.
what did he do it?
It really wasn't a Model T, it was an old Ford.
I don't know what it was,
It was a
but I-
1-ton, but it had big
Oh,
racks on
okay.
it. And all these hanging off the racks and.
And he let us sit in his lap and drive too. Did that.
He was good to the grandkids. He would pick us all up after school on Friday. He wanted the grandkids down there. And there'd be anywhere from 10 to all 17 or 18 of us. And they'd find a place for you to sleep.
Oh, he wanted you to spend the night and everything.
Did he
And
take-
memories of what you had is when they had of course, they had a big area, but they put in 2 big freezers and, it was full of ice cream, bought ice cream, at home, which was highly unusual. And then when you got up the next morning, they had bought cereal. We never had cereal growing up. We had oats and biscuits and gravy. Once in a while, they buy puff wheats and
It
split
was
up.
like a treat to have the.
That's what, man, we love staying down there. We worked there, like she said, we all worked there and stayed there.
Oh.
And
They had a house dinner.
Yeah, oh, and
Remember that dinner,
it's
you couldn't eat.
unbelievable. They had a big breakfast, huge dinner. Never ate supper. Bill would mix Rice Krispies into ice cream, mixed up. That's all he'd eat.
Oh.
Because he stayed in great shape, you know. You ate leftovers, whatever's there, but we, of course, we would want that ice cream and cereal. They didn't tell you, you ate whatever it is you wanted, you know, it was, of course, it was like heaven to us.
Yeah.
Get down there, so it was fun times, you know, I go to Honduras on mission trips and I tell them, you know, people over there have nothing, and I tell them how blessed our childhood was, you know, it was just, you know, it wasn't just your mom and dad that's watching out after you, it's your aunts and uncles, and one of them would get after you just as quick as the other one was. And so they were all good to us, they were all great models to your life after, mentors all our life, and helped us, we were some of the very few that got to go to college, because nobody had the money back then in our neighborhoods. It wasn't, Bobby went to Eastern, and that kinda got us started. And but they reach your own pocket, and help you, give you money, build the great mechanic, you fix your car up so you could drive it and all that, so. We were very blessed family all the way through.
It sounds like it, and were the cousins all kind of in the area, and so you all grew up
Always.
close?
I was very blessed. I lived at the top of the hill, going down to Grandma and Granddaddy's, which was just we would walk down there many, many times. And then on the other hill, across from us, lived my other grandparents. So I was very blessed to have both sets of grandparents close.
I went to school telling everybody I had 3 sets of grandparents. They said, "You can't." I said, "I do." They were hurting. I had to learn real quick how genealogy works.
So when we were growing up at home, we all had a horse apiece, we had another horse with a buggy. Mother Day riding a buggy, every one of us got on a horse, we rode to Van Buren many times.
Wow. Very cool. Wow.
Yep.
You could have driven, but you chose to ride the horses. Yeah, fun. And this brings me to this question that I'm supposed to ask. Who was Sugar Babe?
The mother of all the ponies.
That's horse. I even got to ride sugar
Did
Yeah.
She belonged to John's dad, our family. And we got her when she was 4 years old. Never been broke, never handled, and she was always about to have crazy, even when she was.
High-spirited.
She had a lot of colds.
How old did you tell me?
I think she was 34 when she was that young.
Lots of memories.
I saw her swim across Dad's lake right before she died.
Really? Wow.
One day we couldn't go we went to catch her and we couldn't catch her, she tried to run over us. We went to the house and Daddy said, "Where's the mare?" And we said, "We didn't catch her, she tried to run over us." He said, "Come on, we're going back to get her." And he took his gun and she broke and ran again and went down the holler. Well, it was buckshot, it wasn't nothing that would kill her. And he shot at her, hit her, and we went down and got her and brought her back, and he said, "Ride her." And from then on, all you had to do was shoot a gun on the top of her.
That broke her, didn't it?
She bit Charlotte really bad. And,
She was high
She was
spirited.
never like that when I rode her. Y'all broke her.
She's getting
I
old
never,
like
never
me.
will. She'd give you anytime she could.
That's a good memory. What about, other animals? Did you have, I think did you have hogs or pigs? Yeah.
That's Peggy about riding the hose.
That's what they told me my name was. He always told me mine was spelled P-I-G-G-I-E.
Oh.
I said, "You better hope it's not on my birth certificate."
he had a hog barn below the dairy barn, and then he built one of those where the hogs
Feeder
are.
pig
Yeah,
place.
feeder pigs, he did that, had that for a while. And, did it as long as he could do it, he got to where he couldn't handle
Yeah.
it. But we had sheep, we had goats, we had peacocks, we had all turkeys, we had all kinds of chickens,
Ducks, geese.
yeah.
I remember the
geese,
hog
whatever.
killings in January '65.
You name it, Daddy would pick it
That's when I
up.
filled in that fish pond,
And,
marbles.
and the day of my granddaddy Chowning's funeral, we had to drive past our house to go to the cemetery. And the goat was eating the mimosas, we got mimosas, and Daddy shook him. And I think he maybe got 3-cent check. after the shipping came out of it. But that was the last of the goats.
Tell me about, let's see, in later years, you told me that when they came and started talking about building a lake and putting a lake in, and they, talked to your Uncle Bill, who still had hogs, but am I right that they?
This was after the lake
Was
started.
already in,
They
okay.
found out he had hogs up in the barn and he made him quit having them there. So he had to get rid of hogs.
Yeah.
But when they started buying land, they were really mistreating my grandparents over the price they wanted to pay. They had to fight and they still didn't get what they should have.
I've heard stories about that, people in court.
That happened a whole lot.
Yeah, Sue's family went through that too. Her maiden name was Rogers, and they lived on a little big beach, where it went into Salt River. Yeah.
I've got a picture over here of the bottom land that they took from Grandma and Granddaddy. I think it's about 80 acres.
They did.
And it was probably beautiful, flat.
Oh, it was. That's where they did everything. It was corn, tobacco, hay.
That can be over where you.
Did our
Pictures
silage.
over there, oh, there, I see it.
That was late.
There were, I think, 6 trains. One of them was a prototype that he made out of just regular wood. And then the other 5 were out of either cherry or walnut. And, yeah, he sold one, that's right, he did. Anyway, they tried to figure out how to do it, so they picked one person out of each family that got a train. He got it. But he's the best one to have it, cause he's got a place to display it.
It's so beautiful. We'll take a little tour over there in a minute or two, but, thanks for bringing all that, you know, you can hear about what they did, but if you don't see it, you know,
Yeah.
you can't fully appreciate it. We've got one piece back there that Dwayne and I brought because your Uncle Bill gave it to his dad, Truman McLean, when Truman was helping his brother Raymond McLean, who worked, in the tobacco there. And so, I guess that's how he got to know your
It
family.
was years later, but the relationship started when they cut tobacco.
That's the Baylor.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yes, I brought that tonight. They cherish it, they keep it in these glass case.
My sister that didn't get to come has a big truck about this long, tractor trailer. And every place on it, everything on it moves. You open the door. I tried to print out the pictures like I did these and it just wouldn't print out. You open the door and everything worked and looked just like the truck. And then on the front of it, he has a license plate that said Kentucky KY 1985.
Oh,
So I figured that's when he made it.
How did he start doing the woodwork?
You know, he never had any training, didn't go to vocational school or do anything like that. They tried to get him to go to vocational school and speak and he wouldn't do it. But he just figured it out. There's no-
Bill was the type of person, he could do anything.
and
He could weld, he could carve, do anything. Well, if you take something down and get fixed, well, I might not do this just right, but it holds. No, he could fix anything.
And you said they stayed, Bill and Emma stayed at the home place? Is that right?
And then Tenny was left there by herself, and it was fixing to be a big snowstorm. And Linda then went down to check on her, and she had taken some medicine incorrectly. So she took her home with her, or Pat took her home with her sister. And they have a huge room, and they had 2 recliners, and Aunt Tenny sat in the corner, and they had Millie here, and they had their tables in between them with their candy on it. And then they had couches for everybody to sit on, and a great big TV, I don't know, it's probably 85 or 90 inches, it's big. And, they sat there and watched westerns when they wanted to, and lived there till Aunt Millie passed away first, and then Aunt Tenny.
Now, they passed away the same year,
Same, and one in
July.
July, one in November.
When did you build that?
What year was that?
I've got it back there on a piece of paper.
He died before her?
Oh, yeah, he died several years before her, not a whole lot, but a few years before.
So she helped him, Emma helped him with this?
She did. He cut things out, and she helped him glue them together, and then she helped put the finish on them.
She would paint things too. If anything that was painted, she would paint it.
I got a pattern of Santa with the reindeer in front of it. I mean, big. The Santa sleigh was about this big, the Santa in it, and then the reindeer. And we took that pattern to them, and they made that for me. It's gone, it's been gone a long time, it finally rotted. But Leon took a wire and put it through the reindeer and hooked it up to the chimney on our house. And everybody really loved coming to see that. They did a lot of stuff that we can't tell everything about it, you don't remember it all.
They made all the grandkids, well, my kids and Theo's, they made them a barn. It was a big barn, and it had doors that you could slide in and out on either side, 2 or 3 sides, and the kids loved it. My son still got his.
All that's joined, and that they had in their kitchen, sitting on a shelf. But the other clock that's over there, they made 17 of those, so every one of us would have one.
17. Wow. Getting back to your all's upbringing, where did you all go to church? Is there close by?
And we went to Paramount Church of Christ,
We went to Highview
they went to
Church of Christ.
Kathy.
Went to First Christian here in town.
And speaking of town, how often did you come to Taylorsville? Was that, or was that a regular thing? And
We only came to see the doctor, Dr. Skaggs.
We came to see Dr. Skaggs till Todd was about 4 years old, and he went to give him a shot.
And so when you wanted to like have a fun day out or a fun night out, where did you go? Did you come to Taylorsville? Did you go to church?
Church service.
Oh, church function?
Didn't even do very many.
Tenny them had a huge old Pontiac car. Now, she would come and get us a lot of times on Sunday, I don't know how we all got in it, but sometimes she'd take us, and I remember a couple times going to Marshtown, Arco, I think, theater,
Okay.
see a movie there, and then she'd take us every once in a while and go down to High Grove to skate rink. And that was about it, you know, is of course being kids, you know, going to basketball games, playing basketball in
Yeah.
grade school and high school, doing that, but we never went out hardly. Bill and Tenny, Bill would never, if he could find a way to keep from going, leaving that farm. You know, they'd sell hogs, and he wanted Dad to take his truck and haul the hogs to Louisville, because that's where they sold them, because he just didn't want to go. They had those big freezers, and they went out to shop and froze milk and everything else, just so they didn't have to go back real
Make
long.
a trip every month or so, something. About hunting and fishing, did you guys?
Didn't have much time to hunt, because we were raising tobacco, stripping tobacco, but they would take off on Thanksgiving, strip tobacco till 2 o'clock, and then Dad'd say, you got 2 hours to hunt rabbits, you know, and then you gotta be back. So, you know, some of the kids hunted, and they, on Christmas Day, even uncles, when I was younger, they hunted. Now, they quit that a long time ago, but they did go and kick around on Christmas Day, because we all wound up down at Grandma's house.
I think you all must have been very well-behaved children. That's so
We
many
had-
kids, for the grandparents to handle at their age, and then the aunts and uncles, you know, I don't know.
Whatever they told you to do, you didn't question it, you
You're
didn't,
well-trained.
you didn't backtalk, or you
Yeah.
just did.
Our daddy was a big prankster though.
Oh, okay.
It's a big attitude too.
When we were younger, my grandma and granddad got the first TV. And so on the weekend, we would all go down there, and now we actually plucked the down off the geese for pillows. And each one of us had a pillow, and we laid on our stomach across that big room and watched TV, and
A
grown-ups
lot of
said,
the neighbors came in
Yeah.
because they were, we'd have neighbors
Nobody
coming
else
through.
had one.
yeah, back then they didn't.
Wow.
Ed's Thomas had the first TV at home, our Green Chapel. And we go over to Ed's Thomas's and watch TV, all of them on back.
You remember any favorite shows that you watched?
Bonanza.
And, but anyway, it was Gunsmoke and I don't know.
Sky Key.
And we had little black and white at home, and had an antenna. We had to go out there and turn it and try to get something out of it. But we had, like I said, we all had horses. We had way too many horses, and Dad said, if y'all sell a bunch of these horses, we'll buy color TV.
Oh,
And Bonanza, I think, was the first color show, was at our house anyway. So we sold a bunch of horses, and he bought TV.
Did
So
you
I guess
raise-
we won first in the neighborhood to have color TV.
did you raise horses to sell? I mean, was that part of it?
Nah, we raised them just for
Yeah.
riding, and I don't even remember till we sold those, I don't remember many horses leaving.
I remember the first one that sold, Daddy said he'd never sell another one.
Oh, that-
Cause it upset everybody too much.
And we had, they were really broke horses, you know, we'd milk them, we'd jump on them, you could ride them all without a bridle, and they were beautiful. We had Palomino white horses before anybody around had them, and they were pretty horses, and good horses, so he was offering pretty good money for some horses.
And where did they, where did you have pasture for them? Was that down the bottom as well, or?
No, well, that was on our farm,
Oh,
we
yeah.
just, Dad had a small farm there.
Yeah.
To this day, I can't figure out why he let us have horses. He needed the pasture for
Yeah.
cows and dairy and all that.
They're not money makers, are
He
they?
just had 83 acres.
Yeah.
I remember when we went hill in bicycle, me and you,
Yeah.
hit that ditch about that way. Couldn't stop, man. Went flying.
So you mentioned some of the crops, tobacco, hay,
Corn.
corn,
Silage.
silage. Did you grow cane or?
Cane.
And was this sorghum cane or just?
Sugar cane.
Sugar cane, and did you make syrup out of it or?
No, they chopped it up and put it in
Okay.
silos.
Gotcha.
And then we walked around it and tamped it down while it was going up.
Oh.
Did you all work on the farm? Did y'all have to work on?
Yes, ma'am.
You had to, because y'all had 2 boys at home.
Slave labor.
And all the kids was involved too.
Yeah,
All around.
we got up
Come on, got that silo, get up there.
Before school
Yeah.
and went to the barn.
We milk cows.
Milk.
Had silage, brought the wood in, whatever it was to do.
I made 5 beds before I went to school.
You did what now?
Made 55 beds, feather beds.
Somebody didn't do their part, huh? Make their own bed.
That was my job. I helped milk at night, but the boys milked in the morning.
How many cows did you usually have?
We had, it's very small dairy,
Yeah.
you know, at the most we ever built were probably 20, most time 15. Dad didn't like dairy at all, he liked, he was very good at raising the hogs, taking care of feeder pigs and selling them, so he was really well with that.
Daddy and Uncle Bill logged the lumber and brought it out to the sawmill out of where he lived. And Daddy built a dairy barn and it had 2 rows of stanchions. And they didn't have any electricity in it yet. And so they had a lantern that they were finishing up with. And Mother flew the lantern out, she thought, and it blew down into the gas. And it exploded and caught on fire. And Mother and Daddy went in that barn, they locked Bobby and I in the house, they went in the barn and let those cows out. Some of them, one of them had to be killed, he shipped the rest of them, I think. But the barn burned. And then another year, we had that's where Granddaddy died back in the 50s. A tornado came over and tore down the tobacco barn, kicked it up and set it like a cracker box together and laid it in the pond. And all the neighbors came and helped build that back.
Good neighbors.
Yeah, excellent people.
I forget what your name is.
Well, mine's Virginia, but I was gonna say that iPad there is like a video of the home place when they auctioned it off. But it shows kind of how they lived as far as, you know, there's the cellar, there's the barns that you can look and see the nails and how they just sort of built it out of what they had.
Yeah.
And then what is that high boy,
Yeah.
that piece of
Oh,
equipment?
Bill did, it's just sprayed back with.
But it's out of all different parts of things to build it. So it kind of gives a little, and then the car is in there. Rock crusher. The rock crusher, there's a lot of different pictures of things they had.
A lot of ingenuity set up back there.
Yeah, what, it's a little, just the iPad, I don't know what, look at too much.
Come around there, we'll look at that.
I have something to say about my mother and, Aunt Tenny or TT. I don't think they were either one very fond of school. And, they told Grandma that Uncle Bill was crushing rock for the road down to the house. And they told Grandma that they'd help him crush rock if she wouldn't make him go to school. So they helped him crush the rock so they wouldn't have to go to school. That was high school. Mother, I think, would have been a sophomore, but they didn't like the school.
How much school did they take off? Was it like the rest of the year or just that?
Oh, no, they took off, that was it.
That was it?
That was it. They took that off from there.
That was it?
Well, I imagine it took Uncle Bill, I imagine it took him quite a while to crush rock for that road that came down to the house.
The whole road?
Mm-hmm.
They built the road, right?
Yes, I did. And Aunt Tenny told me that she and Millie, led the cows down a path to get to where they moved.
Now, who lived in the house back up the holler? Go down past Willow's Mill, and go way back in that house, there was a house back in there. It was all building.
That was the White House place.
Okay. I knew that was part of the old farm.
Yeah, and Bill, and then bought that.
And then Willow's Mill, and then that place, and then the granddad, Hubert. And, then Bill Titi over there.
And you mentioned a sawmill, was that?
That big reach out across the hill from
Okay,
them.
okay.
You come right all around 1066. The barn is right there, the sawmill was right here.
And who
Yes,
made the
Thomas.
sawmill?
There's Thomas.
Addis Thomas did,
Addis Thomas.
but I don't remember the sawmill, so, but it's been gone a long time.
Yeah, he sold that before he passed away. Cause keep it even running.
What about a post office? What was the post office?
Bluefield.
Chapman has one too, but ours was Bloomfield, because we were on a route,
Yes. So,
rural route two,
it wasn't called Chowning Lane where your grandparents lived?
not for a long time. That's been,
After the dam went in,
Yeah.
we wouldn't count on anyone moved up to 57.
You looked at January 67.
Remember that? How about, cemeteries? I was just curious where your folks are buried, or, is it all in one cemetery, or different ones, or what cemeteries?
Kathy, your family's buried
Valley.
Valley. And, Linda's family is buried at, Big Springs. Yeah, Big Spring. That's where Grandma and Granddad are buried.
Bill
you know.
and Katie are
Okay.
married,
Bill and
and
Katie
two
are
boys,
there.
and the two boys that
And the two
murdered.
boys.
Yeah. And then,
Uncle Pete.
Uncle Pete is buried in Mount
Mount
Washington.
Okay.
And, Mother and Daddy are buried at Highview Cemetery, out from Chapel.
In our cemetery quest, you know, we're always finding these little family.
As far as I know, there are not any family cemeteries on the end of the property. You all know.
No.
Maybe, any other questions? I thought maybe you all could stand by Uncle Bill and Aunt Penny's things, and we walk around, and you all could.
We can answer questions.
Yeah. So, why don't we go ahead and, she'd like to take a family picture while you're kind of gathered together, and then we'll.
This was a beautiful piece of bottom land right on the Salt River where the Chownings grew corn and cane and tobacco and hay and even had their garden there. The Corps of Engineers bought it from them, and then it was underwater for the lake. Emma Meal Chowning and her brother William Snyder Chowning joined together to build many, many beautiful pieces of art out of wood, some which were on display. The Channing family home was sold for the lake, but before it was flooded, the new owners tore it down for the old logs.